I'm going to be showing you how to play Kate. I'm going to be going over questions like when to use your ultimate, what enemies should be prioritized, how aggressively should I play, ammo concerns in early waves, what are the best weapons to use. At the end of the video, I'll be going into what card should I equip, how should I upgrade my perks. To start off with, if you have a good engineer, sometimes with randoms, if you're just joining a random game, you don't always get this. In most games as Kate, the engineer will give you their overkill. So you can start with 2 shotguns versus 1. And just to really quickly answer the question, what are the best weapons to use? The Gnasher and the overkill. Nice, I got DB right off the bat. We're going to get into this tip right here, and that's the pop shot. Especially on harder difficulties, you're going to pop shot a lot more than you're actually aiming. Now, if you can aim safely and get a couple of headshots back to back, that's cool. But for the most part, you will be pop shotting. And we're going to go into here when to use your ability. So you can use your ability when people go down. See, like that person went down right there? I can use my ability and safely get them up. Because I am invisible. Now granted, while you are invisible, you can take damage. You're not invincible. You're invisible. So yes, if you do walk in front of a boom shot, or you use your ability while a boom shot is incoming, yes, you can go down. You can walk in front of fire and you can take damage. Just the enemies will not see you and will not prioritize you in any form. Like I said, should be mostly pop shotting, but when it's safe, if you can land a couple of beautiful shots on a heavy, that is really sweet. So we're going to go into now, how should I upgrade my perks? And mostly you want to start with damage, especially if you already got bleed. Health is nice, health regen, more health regen than health. Notice that I have long distance pickup and healing jolt on, or at least notice that I have long distance pickup on. That's because I am also showing off her new card, the healing jolt. Since figured it is her new card, might as well use it. It is one of the combos that you can use for her. I see really 3 builds that you can do, and this is one of them, so I figured I would put that on. Cards are all maxed, as you can see. The other 3 that you would never drop are those right there. Both the bleed cards and the Gnasher. Just been doing Zombie Army the last 2 days, so we're getting back into the aim in this game. As I said, with the pop shots, you don't need to be that accurate, especially once your bleed is up. If you're playing on a lower level difficulty, so what enemies should be prioritized as Kate? Soft targets. Targets that don't need to be executed. Now obviously she's probably going to be taking her own lane and just shutting down a corridor in most games, but another time you can use your ultimate is when you have a bunch of downed enemies, or you quickly want to take out a couple enemies. So something you want to keep in mind is knowing when your enemies are going to bleed out. You know when they'll bleed out. You'll know when you have to go into cover. Try to figure out how much your bleed is and watch the ticks so you know when enemies are going to bleed out. Now on low level difficulties, having a frag or using your Talon pistol, well if you're doing low level difficulties but still doing it with execution on, then using your Talon pistol or frags occasionally to get a bunch of downed enemies dead, pretty useful. Oh, I didn't mean to do that right there. And that is the healing jolt combo for you, even on Master. Pretty useful. Yeah, as he bleeds out, I should be in cover. Shoot, go in cover, shoot, go in cover. Just like I was saying initially with the pop shot with her. You see, the healing joke does come in handy, especially when you are trying to take out nice little narrow corridor. As you can see, I'm still only with a couple of downs. Have been holding the front line on the left solo as Kate on Masters, up to wave 17 so far. One level 1 barrier in a useless position. So that might be a little bit of a problem. start with the damage perk. Damage gets your ability back sooner. Damage helps you bleed out enemies faster. And she is a risk-reward character, meaning she doesn't do immense damage on her shotgun blast, but the bleed does do a lot of damage. So the more damage you inflict, the more bleed damage you're doing. Win-win. Just gonna have to pop shot more. And since she mostly is a pop shot character, unless you're playing on low level difficulty, you don't really need the help in the game. There's not really much more to cover for her. She's a pretty simple character to play. Most importantly, know your bleed damage and your damage. Know when you're going to bleed out targets, especially when you're playing aggressively. You're trying to go from one target to the next. You gotta know when they're going to die. But she can put out a lot of damage, as you can see right here. Besides Marcus's had his living legend going the entire game so far. I have 2/3 the damage Marcus has right now. Marcus has had his living legend going the entire game. So she is a very powerful character. Especially when you don't miss actives. I like to also use her ability to clear out some of the last enemies. Not when there's like 5 left, but generally when there's like 7 left. Take out 2 of the enemies and get back. Pretty much right after running out of overkill ammo is a pretty good time. Although when you're not playing with the Jack, saving it for revives is a very good strategy. Just we've already lost the engineers, so we're pretty well screwed. That's another way you can use her ability, and that is to get under things and behind things. Yep. Sniper does stop you from the healing jolt combo. Wave 33, still no barrier defense is needed. That's another example of how to use her stealth 2 cloak. Granted, I really didn't need to use it in that situation. Might have turned, might not have, but it kind of assured me that I would get it. If you do have defenses, being able to pop shot, and to aim a little bit is a lot easier. Oh, wave 45 still in the front line, but I'm actually for the first time going to back off with 2 sentinels. It is kind of my job to take these things out when they get close. I get into the cards, I just wanted to answer a question. I didn't really like my answer that I gave earlier, so I'm going to answer this now in other words. And that's what enemies should be prioritized. Basically, when Kate is going to hold down probably one of the smaller sections on her own. Now, while you should be killing everything in that section, the enemies that you should prioritize are anything that's in the front coming at you, and if they're posted back, they're gonna go for soft targets like scions, pouncers, anything that can't be can't be executed. But she can just straight bleed out those targets and doesn't have to worry about the downs and killing them. If you got somebody killing the downs for you, then it really doesn't matter. But she is very good against scions and oppressors, devastators, pouncers, sires, rejects. And she can do a lot of damage with her bleed. She is one of the most powerful characters maxed out as far as damage goes. So she is one of the stronger target characters to take out high value targets, help with bosses. Sentinels and Guardians should be one of the enemies she should be prioritizing. Anyway, gonna get into her builds. Now we have Laceration and Blood Resonance, two cards that can't be dropped. Gnasher really can't be dropped either, so it's really 3 cards. Now, the Gnasher can't be dropped just for how powerful it is. This is when they're coming up to you. This is the weapon you want to switch to. Granted, if you got a locker close, you could just keep unloading overkills. But at real close range, if you got a Scion, or as you see when I killed that stump, or I switched to the Gnasher for the stump, that's because of the sheer raw power of it. The Gnasher is more powerful to begin with, and once you add in the bonus damage, this is your up-close, straight melt them weapon, and you really should have the card on, so when you need to do that, you're doing it very effectively. So, your possible 4th and 5th cards are Healing Jolt and Long Distance Pickup. If you're not going to run the long reach, it's not that viable, but with the long reach, you will get your health back a lot of times, especially since you're going to have enemies coming up to you a lot of times. You can, even if you're not a master, a lot of times you could just step right out and heal and then get back into cover. Or keep pressing enemies. Like I've done insane and just ran around in the 40s in the middle of Blood Drive, taking them out. But just know your limits, know how red you are, how likely you are to go down. Great way to heal a bunch of times and get a lot of extra power, because she can get a lot of doubles that nobody else can get, especially on lower difficulties where you're not going instantly down from just about everything. So other potential 4th and 5th card combos are Overkill Ammo Capacity and Overkill Stock. Overkill Stock basically reduces the recoil on the overkill to being non-existent, which is really sweet. You can also run Cloak Batteries and where is her legendary? Oh, Chain. There it is. So you can execute more enemies when you use your cloak for non-revive purposes. You can also switch it up. Cloak Batteries is definitely the more important one and the better one out of the two. Getting a couple extra kills is great. Having your ability for longer is even better. When you need to go get those revives and get back into safety, especially if somebody like Jack or something is out in the middle of the field, Cloak Batteries really comes in handy. If you were gonna split it up, I'd run Cloak Batteries and Overkill Ammo Capacity. You can always pop shot, and now, since one bullet doesn't give you all the damage, I'd rather more ammo and 28 shots with max level than I would rather be able to hit the head on one pellet, because, I mean, this was really sweet combo when you could just snipe the heads on dudes and do immense damage, but you're not really doing that immense damage. Now body to headshots are actually a lot better, I mean, you can go for if you can get the precise headshot where the full body is open, but if they're in cover, which was really what made this card nice, that and taking out Sentinels and Guardians on the turret, it's just not as effective as it was. So really the combos are Cloak Batteries and Overkill Capacity and Overkill Stock, or Cloak Batteries and Chain, or another or Healing Jolt and Long Reach. So just to get into how you should upgrade her cards, it's pretty much simple. You can run Long Reach to start. Executing Stim, her beginning card setup before you get the blood up is generally Executing. This would be one of the cards you would definitely have on in the beginning as a Kate. Laceration, put this on as soon as possible. You can put Overkill Stock, but I would put Cloak Batteries on instead right away. Then you could add in 60% resistance to Stim until you get the Nasher and your blood up a little bit. But yeah, you would be putting on Blood Resonance and Custom Nasher as soon as possible. Now you could actually run, for a while, you could run Blood Resonance, Laceration, Nasher, Stim Batteries, and the Executing one. Or Executing one and take resistance to damage while Stim. But once you get your bloods up to like 3, 4, and your other cards up to, I would probably be running the non-executable, one of the setups that I just showed you. And she's pretty much the same to play on Escape. You're going to run the 3 of them, probably Cloak Batteries, and one other card. And that's everything I can think of on Kate. I think I touched on everything. Just to touch a little bit more on how you should upgrade her perks. Generally, I'll go to at least 7 or 8 on the damage. Usually, I'll just go 10 on the damage, and then if there's extra money, I'll put into the health regen and health. Usually, I'll go about 2 to 1 on the health regen and health. So 2 on the health regen, 1 on the health, 4 on the health regen, 2 on the health, 6 on the health, 3, and so on. But that's just me. I do recommend putting the damage up first. I think the damage is the most useful in any build. And that is how you can play Kate. Everything I know about her. If you have any questions, well, anything I can think of at the moment. But if you have any questions, just ask and I'll answer them. I hope that helps.